Welcome to W&L Sports Weekly. I'm Kevin Finch. This week we will visit with women's cross-country coach Mike Dager, junior men's soccer player John Peterson, and sophomore men's cross-country runner Hayden Roberts. But we start with a look back at the week of W&L athletics. Field hockey improved to 13-0 with wins over Shenandoah and Randolph-Macon. Volleyball moved to 22-5 with victories over Randolph-Macon, Widener, Cabrini, and Eastern Mennonite. Men's soccer upped its mark to 13-0-2 with wins over Randolph-Macon and Virginia Wesleyan, along with a draw against Roanoke. Women's soccer posted a win over Shenandoah to make its record 10-2-2 overall. Men's and women's swimming both improved to 2-0 as both squads defeated Randolph-Macon. Football won its sixth straight, defeating Bridgewater to move to 6-1 on the season, while men's golf battled windy conditions in Greensboro to place fourth out of 21 teams at the O'Brien-Jensen Memorial. Finally, the equestrian team won its own invitational at the Virginia Horse Center on Sunday to move into the lead among all teams in the region. Joining me now is head coach of the women's cross-country program, Mike Dager. Mike, thanks so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Well, glad to have you. And looking at the success so far, you won the Bridgewater Invitational at the beginning of the season, and then the ODAC preview was also at Bridgewater. In a few days, you're going to be back in Bridgewater for the ODAC Championship. How do you coach those runners to avoid complacency with all that familiarity with that same location?
Generally, the athletes appreciate being familiar with a course, especially a championship course. If you get off the bus and look at the Bridgewater course, it's really flat around athletic fields. You would probably think it would run really fast, but there are so many turns that the course isn't as quick as it appears. So being there will be helpful, I think, having raced on it twice before. And the other thing is you have to be used to being able to see the whole race in front of you. If you're not among the leaders but are going to impact the scoring, you're going to be able to see every step of the race, and you just have to stay focused and engaged. And our athletes are looking at having raced there twice as an opportunity to know those factors that could play a role in the outcome.
So can you look past ODAC to talk about the regionals, or is that getting ahead of yourself?
We're focused on ODACs now. As coaches, we're developing a training plan that hopefully has us ready to peak at regionals, because that's the most important race on the schedule. But the athletes are really focused one meet at a time and solely focused on ODACs at this point.
Fair enough. Besides those outright victories, you've had some impressive finishes. 3rd out of 18 at Dickinson, 2 7th-place finishes, 1 out of 14, 1 out of 17. What's impressed you the most about this team after losing an entire year to COVID?
They've created an atmosphere where they really feel confident in the training that we're doing. They know we haven't put our full top 7 on the line in any race yet this season, or maybe we haven't done it since the ODAC preview. But we're looking forward to having everybody on the line at the same place, because we've split the squad a couple times for different races. So their outlook is really positive. They're looking forward to competing. It should be a really competitive meet. And the conditions appear to be sloppy, to be expected. I mean, they got a lot of rain yesterday. The course is around athletic fields, so everything kind of drains off the soccer fields onto the course. They're going to get about an inch of rain on Thursday and Friday. So it's going to be an interesting championship. Those sorts of conditions can make kind of anything possible, and runners that approach it different ways can really impact the scoring. And we're really looking forward to it.
You coach a team, but it's built on individual performances. What can you say about your runners as individuals this season?
As individuals, they've done all that we've asked to prepare themselves for the postseason. They're really focused on the team outcome. They understand what their role is individually, but also how that fits into the team plan going into the ODAC championship.
Good deal. Mike, thanks for being with us.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Here with me now is John Peterson, a junior men's soccer player from Towson, Maryland. John, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Glad to have you here. So a philosophical question to start off with. So is it fun to be highly ranked, even number one for some weeks, or does it become a distraction?
I think it's definitely something to be proud of. But at the same time, I think it also presents a lot of, not distractions, but challenges. I think going into games, you know that your opponent's going to want to knock you off since you're the top seed. So the days before a game, the practice before, you really need to be focused on what makes your team successful and improve upon what you haven't been doing as well. But I don't think I would consider it a distraction, but really more is just motivation to stay on top and continue to be that number one seed.
Well, an obvious follow-up for me would be how you and your teammates feel about handling all that pressure for most of the season in the national D3 spotlight.
I think we've handled it well this year. We've really just stuck to what makes us a successful team. I remember my freshman year in 2019, we kind of dealt with the same spotlight a little bit. We were ranked pretty highly in the top 5 for several weeks, but in that span, I think we had a loss and a tie. But we have a lot of guys returning from that 2019 season, so we're a lot more experienced and used to that spotlight. I think we're just excited to go into the postseason now.
So you're coming off a victory just last night, and you added to the box score, didn't you?
Mm-hmm, I did.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yep, I scored in the second goal, and then Samuel Bass finished off with the third to kind of seal the win in the last few seconds.
Congratulations. So do you notice, is there a pattern to the way you guys are winning, or is it sometimes big blowout, sometimes a really tight game?
I think it depends on the team that we're playing. We knew Valwez was going to be a tough opponent coming into it. They have a good record. They have a solid squad. So just we focused on what we need to do well in that. And Coach was talking before the game that I don't think a team's ever been undefeated for the Washington Lee men's soccer program for regular season. So that was an achievement that we were focused on, and we were able to do so.
And that's quite an achievement. Looking ahead to the ODACs, how do you maintain focus when you realize you still have to take care of business in the conference first?
Yeah, really just taking it one game at a time. First Saturday, we know that we're playing Hampden-Sydney. We played them already this year. We know that they're a solid team. So this week in practice, we really just want to focus upon what went well against them earlier this year, and then also try to improve upon what didn't go so well. But I think I can talk for the whole team here that we're pretty excited for the ODACs, considering our early exit last year. So I think we're all really ready to play and hopefully can win.
Sounds like a good plan. John, thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Now joining me is Hayden Roberts, a sophomore cross-country runner from Lutherville, Maryland. Welcome, Hayden.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Glad to have you here. You guys have had some impressive finishes down the stretch of the regular season. Looking at this list here, you won the 2016 Paul Short Run in Pennsylvania, outright number 1. Placed 7th out of 33 teams at the Interregional Border Battle in New Jersey. So how do you feel that positions you as you head into the ODAC Championship this week?
Yeah, I mean, those are a couple confidence-boosting performances, especially last week at Rowan, because we took down the number 3 team in the country, CNU, which that then made us number 3 in the region, in the South region. And so that's sort of a nice confidence boost. We're still, we still trailed Lynchburg last weekend, so we know there's a lot of work to do there to catch their runners. But it's good. We're finally starting to get a full squad together. We've had inconsistencies, but we know Saturday we're going to put up a full lineup. Everyone's going to be healthy, so I think we're in a good spot.
The team didn't compete last year because of the pandemic. What's been the most rewarding thing about this season for you?
Well, I mean, honestly, just having consistent competition, because last year we were, we're always on edge. We didn't know if the season was going to be canceled with COVID and all that. And even at the beginning, we didn't know when we were even going to start competing, because it kept canceling, track events, and we ended up competing in March, I think. But yeah, that's honestly been the most rewarding part, just to know we're going to have competition. I think that's allowed the team to get closer, because we're traveling together. We're going to meets. We're all struggling through the same races. So I just like the consistency of just knowing there's going to be a season, knowing what we have to do. I think that's been fantastic.
Team sport, but as an individual runner, how have you improved, and how do you hope to contribute to the team?
Yeah, well, I've had a tough season so far with a few setbacks, injuries ranging from tendonitis to I had a broken nose, it put me out. So I've only raced once. But just in terms of improvement, I'm starting to get healthy. And so I can finally focus on racing. For most of the season, I've been focused on trying to get back in shape from the injuries. But now, I'm just excited to be back in that top 7 lineup. Just to focus on racing. It's gonna be nice.
Well, I hope that focus pays off for you this weekend with the ODACs in Bridgewater.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks for being with us.
Yep.
Time now for a look at the upcoming week. On Friday, volleyball travels to Emory in Atlanta, Georgia to take on Birmingham Southern and Hendricks. A busy Saturday begins with riding traveling to Lynchburg at the Invitational, volleyball playing its final match in Atlanta against Barry, and men's and women's cross country look to keep their championship streaks alive when they both compete at the ODAC Championship at Bridgewater. Women's soccer travels to Randolph-Macon, and football will play at Emory and Henry. Field hockey travels to Virginia Wesleyan, and men's and women's swimming host Lynchburg. Finally, men's soccer will host Hampton-Sydney in an ODAC tournament quarterfinal contest. Stay tuned to GeneralSports.com for updated schedules as a host of W&L Sports will begin playing ODAC and NCAA tournament contests in the coming weeks. For W&L Sports Weekly, I'm Kevin Finch. Thanks for watching.